I say this every year, but this is the time of year where I normally go out there and embarrass myself. However, I will say, I'll give myself the benefit of the doubt, because some of these predictions over the years actually haven't been too bad. I mean, in 2023, sure, I predicted that the Bruins and the Oilers would play in the finals. That didn't end up happening. In 2022, I ended up predicting the Stanley Cup finalists properly. I got the Tampa Bay Lightning in there, but I said that they would have lost to the Calgary Flames. In 2020, I said it was going to be Vegas and Philadelphia, and Vegas ended up winning later. My predictions have kind of been all over the place, and they kind of stink. So big disclaimer to all of y'all who look at me as a person who does hockey videos on YouTube for a living and tries to think that I'm in a position of authority here. I'm absolutely not. I'm just a fan just like every one of you, so when I click play now here on the bracket of NHL.com's Bracket Challenge website, I really do just have the same deficiencies that everybody else has. So, let's go out there and predict the 2024 Stanley Cup Playoffs, all 8 series, and what exactly we think the entire bracket is going to look like. So this is annoying. It's on the screen. Start here, select which team you think will win round 1. I guess we're just going to jump right into it. Dallas versus Vegas. I'm going to go Dallas in 7. Great pick. Oh yeah, got it. Yes, I got it. I know how this thing works. NHL.com. You don't have to guide me through it. So I'm going to say the Dallas Stars beat the Vegas Golden Knights in 7 games. I know the season series between these two teams has been heavily skewed in Vegas's favor. And we also recognize that the battle for Dallas between Vegas and LA was very tight yesterday. Both of these teams went out there and put themselves in pretty tough spots. But at the end of yesterday's festivities, Vegas played Dallas, LA's playing Edmonton for the 3rd time in a row as well. That's at the bottom of the bracket here, but I'm going to go out there and say at the very beginning, because home ice advantage is with Dallas, because the Stars have been so strong, so deep this entire season, I think in the playoffs, it's going to go their way, even though they did lose out against Vegas 3 times out of 3 times, I'm pretty sure, in the regular season. In fact, I need to go out there and fact check that. Yeah, so the 3 times that Vegas and Dallas played off against each other this season, Vegas took the win. They won 3-2, 2-1, and 6-1. So if there's any team going out there that might have Dallas's number in this postseason, it might be Vegas. Who really knows? But I'm going to go out there and say that the top of the Pacific will be locked down and Dallas will take the dub. Heading over to the second series, Winnipeg versus Colorado. Now, we did just see the Colorado Avalanche go down a little bit of a losing skid to end off the season, including an absolutely brutal stomping at the hands of the Winnipeg Jets. So, how do the Avalanche respond to this? They go out there in their last game of the season and put everybody who is good on the roster on the ice against an Edmonton team that had nobody that was good, realistically speaking, and they absolutely stomped the Oilers. They needed that comeback, they needed that mojo, they needed that win in order to get some confidence back. But will it be enough? I'm going to go out there and say, honestly, no. I'm going to say the Winnipeg Jets go out there and barely edge out the Colorado Avalanche. Yesterday, the Jets ended up beating the Vancouver Canucks with a lineup that did not boast any significant talent outside of like 3 guys. The Winnipeg Jets sat Mark Scheifele, they sat Kyle Connor, they sat Brendan Dillon, they sat a whole bunch of really talented players. Connor Hellebuck didn't even dress. And the Jets, they're just resting their guys. Cooler heads will prevail here against a Colorado team that is looking to get back into the fray of top-tier Stanley Cup championship contention. They have an absolute MVP player in Nathan MacKinnon. They have a defenseman in Cale Makar who has admittedly been a little bit worse this season, unfortunately. But things have still gone well for Colorado. Is it enough to beat Winnipeg, though? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Jets in 7. Now, on to the Pacific Division. You already know this. I said this in my series video. I'm taking the Vancouver Canucks in 6. They've been really good against the Predators this season, even though the Preds have gone out there and really bolstered up their entire team after losing to Vancouver 3 out of 3 times to open up the year. I'm going to say Vancouver's going to take that mojo, they're going to take that confidence and use it to beat out Nashville in 6 games. Shades of 2011, they're the number 1 team in the Pacific for a reason, and I feel like a lot of people are starting to sleep on the Canucks. I get it, they did kind of suck heading into the postseason, but either way, when the going gets tough, we have seen that these guys, Hughes, Miller, Pettersson, Besser, they step up in the postseason. They did that in the 2020 bubble, and Thatcher Demko stepped up in the 2020 bubble. Will that be enough to take over against the Nashville Predators team that is surging hot right now? I'm going to go out there and say yes. I'm going to say Vancouver in 6. Now, Edmonton versus LA. Thank you, Edmonton, for winning this spot and getting to a point where you're playing off against the LA Kings, because I'm going to go out there and say that the Oilers are going to take this one in 6. It's crazy, because Canucks fans like myself have been saying this entire time, oh no, we don't want to play LA, we don't want to play LA. Yeah, because LA has Vancouver's number, but who is the one team that's gone out there every single year and has seemingly found a way to neutralize the LA Kings in their boring play style? It's the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid. And with this team pretty much in the last stages of their Ken Holland, McDavid experimental era, they have no choice but to win again. So I'm going to say Edmonton in 6. We already locked in our first round for the West. Let's go over to the East over here. Tampa Bay versus Florida. I'm sorry, Bolts. Nikita Kucherov is my personal MVP of this season, but I'm going to go out there and say the Florida Panthers are going to win. They're just too good. They're just too stacked. They are too deep everywhere, and I should have been doing this earlier. What am I doing? This video sucks. I should have been looking at some of the numbers and everything already, but the Florida Panthers are so deep. So many guys with 20-plus points, a whole bunch of 80-plus point guys, and goal scorers throughout the gosh darn lineup. Carter Verhaeghe had 34 goals this season. This team knows how to tango. They can be physical. They just went to the Stanley Cup Finals this previous season. Tampa Bay, while I do think Nikita Kucherov is the MVP this year, he's my personal one, at the end of the day, you shut down Kucherov, you shut down the Lightning. 100 assists, 144 points. This guy is an absolute heartbeat for this hockey team. If you're able to find a way to neutralize the offensive capabilities of Kucherov, you're finding a way to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to say Panthers, honestly, in 5. Now, heading to our second series, the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs. We already made a pre-series video about this series, and I said it was going to be the Bruins in 7. You can go ahead and check out that video. It's on the YouTube channel if you want to see all my thoughts and opinions and breakdowns. But essentially, are the Toronto Maple Leafs good enough to beat this Boston Bruins team? Yes, but do they have the mental fortitude to do so? I don't know. And the fact is, the Leafs have not given us the benefit of the doubt over the years to be able to say that they're 100% going to do this. My doubt is still there. So with any doubt in mind, I'm going to go out there and just go with my gut, and I'm going to say Boston is going to take this one in 7. Heading over to the other ones here, Metropolitan matchups, I'm going to say the Rangers. Let's just say 4 games. I mean, the Washington Capitals squeaked in here. They have a minus 40 goal differential. What are they going to do against against the best team in the NHL this season, the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers? Honestly, I don't think they're going to do much. Sorry, Ovi. To be honest, I feel like Ovechkin probably wants to get a little bit more of a break in the offseason anyway, so that he's able to get more goals next year and hopefully catch Gretzky. So all the rest that he can get, I think it's probably going to be useful. The Capitals barely squeaked in here. You could say that they shouldn't have even made the playoffs based off of the wins. So I'm going to say Rangers in 4. And then for our final Metro matchup, it is the Hurricanes and the Islanders. I don't know how anybody's going to doubt the Hurricanes at this point, considering just how strong they've played the entire time. They've always been a very good team. So I'm going to say the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm going to say they're going to do it in 6 games. Nothing against the Islanders. It's just they had to fight tooth and nail to get the 3rd place spot in the Metro Division, and it was really tough for them. They had a lot of struggles, they had a lot of opportunities, but all in all, I think if it comes down to who can score more goals than the other gosh darn team, even with the goaltending deficiency here, I still think that Carolina is going to get it done. I mean, all the guys who have gone out here and produced multiple 30-goal scorers, multiple 50-plus guys, they've had some pretty diversified scoring throughout the lineup. I mean, look at that, 17 guys with 20-plus points on the team. That's crazy. Head over to the New York Islanders. I know that offense isn't really the name of their game. They play a lot more defensively sound. But how many guys do the Islanders have at 20-plus points? They have 12. The Hurricanes have 5 more. That's kind of crazy when you really think about it. So I'm going to go Hurricanes. This is what our second round looks like between Dallas and Winnipeg. I'm going to say that the Winnipeg Jets are going to take this one out on top. I feel like once the Jets get into a groove, once Connor Hellebuyck gets into a groove, once they're able to do that against the Colorado Avalanche, it's going to be easy pickings for the rest of the Jets just to go out there and pick apart the Dallas Stars. Now, this is going to be a close series. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say probably 6 or 7. I don't think the NHL Bracket Challenge allows you to put numbers on the second, third, and fourth rounds, but I'm going to say Winnipeg's going to beat Dallas, and then Vancouver, Edmonton. You know I gotta rep my boys, baby. Vancouver has had Edmonton's number all year. 4-0-0 against the Oilers this season. Oh, they started out the year badly. Oh, the Oilers were so bad at the beginning of the year. Yeah, Vancouver beat them. They stomped on them twice. Guess what? When the Oilers were good, they played again. Vancouver still won. What now? I think that if there's going to be any team that shuts down Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's bid for a cup this year, it's got to be Vancouver. They have their name written on that name tag because they have been so good against Edmonton. And you know how we said that the Canucks cannot play well against the LA Kings and their style? They play very well against the Oilers and their style. So, if anything, I think this is going to be the most likely outcome for our Pacific Division. I am a total homer, 100%. But I still do believe that this is very well possible, and I'm going to go out there and predict it. So this is what our Western Conference looks like. In the East, if we want to go over to our second round matchups, this is where things get interesting. Because Boston versus Florida, another rematch of what happened last year. Are the Bruins going to allow their ego to get the better of them like it did last year? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Boston takes this one. I'm going to say it's going to take 7 games. They almost took 7 games last year to beat Florida. It didn't work, but they got there. All in all, though, I think the Bruins, especially with this aging core, sure, they're not as good of a team on paper as they were last year. I do think they have what it takes to be able to take over the first 2 rounds and learn from their mistakes from last year. Take over the Florida Panthers, deny this team the opportunity to get hot and make the Stanley Cup Finals once again. Then over into the Metro, I'm going to say the Rangers beat the Hurricanes. The Rangers just have been so good this season, and the Hurricanes, while they do have a lot of depth and a lot of speed, I feel like with a healthy Igor Shesterkin and a Rangers team that is stepping up to the plate in the ways that they can, they could be that one team to neutralize Carolina. So, heading over into the conference finals, the final 4 teams. We have a guaranteed Canadian team in the Stanley Cup Finals based off of my predictions between Winnipeg and Vancouver. Honestly, I want to say Vancouver versus Boston is going to be the Stanley Cup Final, but if you had to put a gun to my head, you had to really just cock it, say what you want to say, I'm going to go Winnipeg, and it's going to be really, really close. Connor Hellebuyck versus Thatcher Demko, I think Hellebuyck slightly takes the win. You talk about a lot of guys here in Winnipeg that can score, they can produce, there's a pretty good amount of depth in this team, there are a lot of shot blockers as well that are doing some good work. I mean, Brendan Dillon in particular has been such a monster this year on the blue line. This team has what it takes to go out there and I think really take over. You see that there aren't too many like super high point per game guys, 80, 90, 100 point guys on Winnipeg. That's because they don't need them. They've got so much depth throughout the lineup and they play a style that is able to take over Vancouver. Now I know what you may be thinking if you're a Canucks fan. Wait a minute, the Canucks just stomped the Jets a few weeks ago. And yes, that's true, but you talk about some of the other games that Vancouver and Winnipeg have played this season. It's been pretty down the middle and the Jets have taken a few dubs here and there. So I'm going to go out there and say that in a 7-game series, it will go to 7. Winnipeg will win. They'll beat Vancouver. The Canucks will go to the 3rd round. And on the East, Boston versus New York, I gotta go out there and say it, baby. It's going to be the Bees. This is a repeat championship performance in my bracket predictions. Last year I had the Bruins going to the finals. This year I have the Bruins, who are an inferior team compared to last year, also going to the finals. I just do not see the Bruins making the same mistakes again. They already went through this once. They were so good last year. A ton of expectations. But is it enough to go out there and take over a Stanley Cup and win for the first time since 2011? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Winnipeg. Yeah, we're going to submit the bracket. Tiebreaker question. Number of goals scored in the Stanley Cup Final Series. I'm going to say it's going to go to 6 games. Connor Hellebuck is going to have 2 shutouts in there. So if we're going to go to total goals, I don't know, like 3-1, 4-2, 2-0. Let's just do some math here. Let's say 19 goals, I guess. Is that a good number? I've read and agreed to the official rules. Yep, I totally did that. This is our bracket. Peg City Hockey is going to love me for this. I'm not doing it just to please Jake. Believe me, I really do think that this is a likely outcome here. Look, I always embarrass myself by making these videos, and everybody in the comment section always gets super pissed off because their favorite team didn't end up winning, which is totally fair. I mean, I'm going out there and saying the Kings are out immediately. I'm saying that the Avalanche don't make it past round 1, but at the end of the day, this is my bracket, and I just submitted it to the NHL website, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Lego Rocks 99 2024 Stanley Cup Playoff prediction bracket. I have the Jets over the Bruins in the Stanley Cup Final after beating the Canucks, the Stars, and the Avalanche to get there. What are your thoughts about this entire bracket prediction? Who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup this year? And if it's any of the teams that I said are going to be eliminated early, which one is it? Who's going to go to the finals? Who's going to have themselves a run? Who's going to win Lord Stanley's Grail? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.